One of the great days in my life is when I learned to accept my resistance. Perhaps a discussion of resistance from Stephen Pressfield in his book, The War of Art. I love this book. Right out of the gate, he talks about resistance. He said the following list in no particular order of those activities that most commonly elicit resistance. The pursuit of any calling, writing, painting, music, film, dance, or any creative art. That could be a lawyer, accountant, engineer, whatever you're doing to work, if that is your art. He goes on to say, however marginal or unconventional, elicits resistance. Number 2, the launching of any entrepreneurial venture or enterprise for profit or otherwise. Man, is that so true? Number 3, any diet or health regimen. You're gonna get resistance. Number 4, any program of spiritual advancement. Any activity whose aim is tighter abdominals. Any course or program designed to overcome an unwholesome habit or addiction. Number 7, education of every kind. Number 8, any act of political, moral, or ethical courage, including the decision to change for the better some unworthy pattern or thought or conduct in ourselves. Number 9, the undertaking of any enterprise or endeavor whose aim is to help others. Number 10, any act that entails commitment of the heart. The decision to get married, to have a child, to weather a rocky patch in a relationship. And the last one he mentions, number 11, the taking of any principled stand in the face of adversity. He goes on to say resistance is invisible. Quote, resistance cannot be seen, touched, heard, or smelled, but it can be felt. We experience it as an energy field radiating from the work and potential. It's a repelling force. It's negative. Its aim is to shove us away, distract us, prevent us from doing our work. I've thought a lot about resistance. I think resistance is fear, or the manifestation of fear, or that force field. It's the energy of fear. What is fear anyway? This is what I believe the fear is. We have this concept called the duality man, where we have our ego and we have ourself. The ego is selfish. It wants to control you. It wants to always throw voices in your head to make it relevant. And yet self, the true self, the who we are, the destiny self, constant battle with ego. When we can get rid of resistance, resistance is the voice of the ego throwing all this crap at you, the voice of the ego that wants you to believe that your life is a product of your past, and it wants you to think about the future. When you live in the past, pain, suffering. You live in the future, anxiety, all stressful, all fear-related, in my opinion. I've often thought, why do we listen to the ego? Well, number one, we don't even know it's the voice in our head. A lot of people believe that voice in their head is true. They think, well, I thought it must be real. No, that's the lying ego telling you, and yet we don't learn that the ego is throwing it out there. It's also a learned response. What do I mean by that? Our country is in such a shame thing to where it starts in childhood with a parent. A parent creates their family system, and if the parent has some issues in their life, if the marriage isn't good, then they're going to throw some shame at these kids. And these children, their offspring, wants to keep that family system together. So when a parent throws out shame and it makes this child feel less than who they are, all for making the parent feel better about themselves. Boy, if I can get my kid to get A's, if I can get my kid to do this, if I can shame my kid into doing homework, cleaning their room, so that I can be a great parent. So it starts there in the family systems, and most families are dysfunctional with respect to that issue of shame. It also starts with school systems, if you think about it. Raise your hand, wait till you're chosen. Isn't that life? I hope I get that promotion. I gotta go apply for the job. I hope they choose me. We live in such a state, starting in childhood. Raise your hand and ask a question. How about in schools? Standing in line, next. The only thing you really need in a school system is to be obedient, and you're gonna get through. And in schools, you're also taught to embrace other people's ideas. I mean, schools don't teach you to creatively think for yourself. What would happen in school if a child threw out what they thought? Maybe it's happened to you. I used to come up with ideas in school and I would get pounded. Oh, that's stupid, Mike. That's dumb. That'd never work. That's where it starts, this whole shaming thing. This is part 1 of 3 of this whole topic about resistance and fear. I've got a link below for an offer to where you can get access to this awesome questionnaire that I put together that's called What's Holding You Back questionnaire. And in that questionnaire, as you answer these questions, generally in childhood where you acquired some of these attributes, it's a sign that you've got fear in your life and there's shame that's a part of that. Click below, enter your name and email, and get access to that questionnaire. I'll see you in the next blog where I go into this subject a little deeper. See ya.